Hello friends, this is Professor Sagar Birje, Faculty Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Angadi Institute of Technology and Management, Belgaum. I welcome you all for my presentation. So in this presentation, we are going to discuss on the concept of recursion. So let us understand what is recursion. So the basic definition of recursion is, recursion in C program means a function calling itself. So a function that calls itself is known as a recursive function, and this technique is known as recursion. So the function that keeps on calling itself is known as a recursive function, and this technique is known as recursion. So basically, let us understand how recursion works. So I have taken a simple program to demonstrate how recursion works. So here we are going to understand the importance of recursion, writing a recursive program, and the care that we need to take while writing the logic of a program when we are using the concept of recursion. Okay, so here we have a main function. Inside that main function, we have three set of executable instruction. One is the printf statement, which prints the message start. Then we have the main function, which is calling the main function again explicitly. So this main function is written inside the main function. So whenever this main function is executed, it calls once again the main function explicitly, and once again the three statements inside this main function gets executed whenever this main function is being executed. And the third statement what we have is the another printf statement which prints the message end. So let us see how computer executes this code and what mistake we need to avoid while writing the logic for recursion. So to execute any function inside an application, there is a RAM memory which has been allocated. So this memory is called as a stack memory. Okay, so any programming language, stack memory is common. So whenever we are executing any program, computer allocates a stack memory to that particular program where that particular program gets executed. So any function or a block of code that is executing inside a memory, it gets executed inside this stack memory only. So to execute a method or block, some amount of memory will be allocated inside the stack, and that memory is called as a stack frame. Okay, that is a memory will be allocated for every method or a function that is being executed. So we have inside a stack memory a stack frame. So that stack frame is separately allocated to each method or a function which is written inside that particular program separately. Okay, so if we look into the previous code, okay, so first time when we execute, okay, we'll go to the previous one. So first time when we execute this particular program, the operating system execute this main function, okay, or this main method. So the main method, some memory will be allocated. So here you can see when the operating system executes the main method for the first time, some memory is being allocated to that particular function. Okay, so once this particular function starts executing, we have certain set of instructions written inside this function. One is the printf, which prints the message start, and inside that, after this instruction, we can see there is a main function, so which is again calling the function explicitly. So here what happens when this main function gets executed, it calls the main function explicitly, and once again we can find all the three set of instructions getting executed once again. So once again we have a printf statement that is printing the message start, and then after that we have once again the main function being called. So here once again we separate stack frame is been allocated to this particular function so that it can execute and give back the result. So here you can find that every time the control is moving in the forward direction. So here the red arrow mark headed is showing that the control is going in the forward direction. So once all the instructions that are written inside the main function are getting executed, then the frame will be allocated to some other program which is going to execute. Okay, so and as this memory will be allocated to some other program. So here what you can say is that as we are always moving in a forward direction, there is no way to come back and complete the execution uh, of the previous frame. Okay, so here we have some mistake in writing the logic of the recursive program. So here you can see that the control is always moving in the forward direction and there is no chance of coming back and completing the previous function or previous method. So this keeps on executing and calling the main function again and again. So after certain time what happens, the memory gets exhausted. Okay, and then there will be a error. We call that as a runtime error, and the program will terminate abnormally. Okay, as there is no sufficient memory available. So the important thing to note in this particular section is when we are working with recursive function, we need to take care a bit while writing a logic, because the order in which the control is moving in forward direction, in the same order the control should come back, and where it has started execution it should complete the execution at the same point. Okay, so this is what the important thing that we need to take care when we are writing a recursive function program. Okay, so let us see how a recursion concept is used in C program. So here we have a simple program to find a factorial of a given number using the recursion. So we are going to find the factorial of a given number using a recursion. Okay, so for that we have declared a function name called as fact, and the parameter that I'm passing is of type integer. So we have one parameter being passed. Okay, and the return type is integer. So inside the main function we have two local variables and an res of type integer, and the other statement that are written inside the main function is printf statement, which is asking the user to enter a number, and after that we have a scanf statement which is going to read the value entered by the user and assign it to the variable n, and that variable n we are passing it in the calling function. So here we have a calling function fact of n. So whatever value that the user has entered, we are passing it to the function definition. So here we have the function definition. Okay, so once we get back the result of the particular factorial, we print the factorial of a given number is so and so. Before that, we'll see how that particular calculation is done. So inside the function definition, we can see we have the value n been passed as a parameter to the given function fact. So inside the body of the function, we have one more local variable declared as result. So in that I am going to check first the condition, is n equal to 0. Suppose the user has entered the value of n as 0. So here what happens, we are comparing the value of n with 0. Suppose the user has entered as 0, so 0 is equal to 0. The condition is true. As we know, the factorial of 0 is 1. So I assign a value 1 to result. So I am returning back the result to the calling function from the called function. So here the factorial of n will be replaced by 1. So result is equal to 1. So factorial is 1. Suppose, so here if the value of n is not 0, then the condition will be false and we enter into the else part. In this else part, we can find one more statement written: result is equal to n into fact of n minus 1. So here you can find that fact of n minus 1 is a recursive function. So where we have written recursion, we have written recursive function here. So this fact of n is again going to explicitly call the fact function, and then all the set of statements inside this function keeps on executing. Okay, now let us understand the working of this particular program to find the factorial of a given number using recursion with this graphical method. So as I told you, whenever the function is whenever the program is called for execution, the operating system brings that particular program inside a stack memory, and for the first time the main function gets executed and the memory is been allocated to that particular function. So inside that we have two variables, as I told you, declared n and ra. Suppose the user has entered the value of n as 3. So I am calling the function fact and passing the value 3 to it. So fact of 3. So this function, calling function, will call the called function. I pass fact of 3. I enter inside this particular function body where the value of n is 3 now. So inside this function body I could find one conditional statement written. What is that? If n equal to 0. Now what is the value of n here? The value of n here is 3. So is 3 equal to 0? No. So as this particular condition is returning false, the statement immediately followed after if will not get executed. So we move on to the else part. So inside the else part we have a statement written: result equal to here n into fact of n minus 1. So what is the value of n? Value of n is 3. So 3 into fact of 3 minus 1. So 3 minus 1 is how much? 2. So I don't know what is fact of 2. So to know the fact of 2 function, I once again explicitly send the value to the main function. Okay, now we have fact of 2. So here value of n is now 2. So once again I enter inside the function body. I check out the condition. Is 2 equal to 0? No. The condition is written inside this becomes false. So I move on to the else part. So result equal to 2 into fact of 2 minus 1. So 2 minus 1 is 1. So what is fact of 1? I don't know. I need to calculate it. So once again I call that particular function by passing the value of n as 1. So fact of 1, so the n value is 1 now. So I am comparing, is 1 equal to 0? No. Again the condition becomes false. I move to the else part. So in this, 1 into fact of 1 minus 1. So 1 minus 1 is 0. So what is fact of 0? I don't know. I need to calculate it. So once again I call this function fact of 0. I pass the value of n here now as 0. So what is fact of 0? Fact of 0 we are going to calculate. Here we have the condition. Now as value of n is 0, we are going to compare. Is n equal to 0? Yes. The last block is telling that the condition is satisfied, and then I assign the value 1 to the result. So the statement inside the if gets executed, result equal to 1. So we don't go to the else part, directly we go to the return statement. The value of result is what? 1. So we are returning the value to the calling function. Which function I had called? Fact of 0. So fact of 0 is how much? Fact of 0 is 1. So this function fact of 0 will be replaced by 1. Now I know what is fact of 0. Fact of 0 is how much? 1. So 1 into 1 is 1. So the result is 1. So I return back the result to my previous calling function. That is fact of 1. Now fact of 1 is how much? As I have returned the value of result as 1, this fact of 2 minus 1, that is 1, is replaced by 1. So I multiply 2 into 1. So 2 into 1 is how much? 1. So the result, 2 into 1 is 2. So the result is assigned as 2. So now I return the result to my previous calling function. So which was fact of 2. So fact of 2 is how much? 2. So here fact of 2 is replaced by the value 2. So I multiply 3 with 2. 3 into 2 is 6. The value stored inside this result is 6. So I return back to my calling function once again. So I return the value of result as 6 to my calling function. So here you can see that the time we had started our execution from the main function by calling the factorial function, we have moved in a forward direction and we kept on executing. Once the logic and the condition is satisfied, now we are moving back to our previous program where we had started. So this is what the care you need to take it. Now what is the fact of 3? Fact of 3 is 6. So res is assigned the value 6. So I print the, after this function gets executed, I have the next statement getting executed saying that printf factorial is 6. So in this output we can see for the value that I have entered 3, I find that the factorial is 6. So this is how the recursive function program is written for finding the factorial of a given number. So this is one example. One more program that we have is program to find the sum of a given number. So I'm going to find the sum of a given number using recursion. So how? Let us see. I have a function declaration done here. So sum is the function name. I am passing a parameter of type integer. The parameter is 1. So n. Return type is integer. Inside the main function I have two local variables, number and result of type integer. So I ask a user to enter a positive integer. I read that particular number from the user and assign the value to the variable number. So that variable value I am passing it through the calling function. So sum of, in bracket, number is a calling function. I am passing the number, okay, to the function that I have written, which calculates the sum of a given number. Okay, so here the value of n has been passed from the calling function to the call function. Inside this we are first checking the condition, is n not equal to 0. So if n is 0, the condition will be false and I return the value of n. So sum of 0 is 0 only. If it is any other number apart from 0, then we enter the body of the if, and then we can see return n plus sum of n minus 1. So here sum of n minus 1 is a recursive function that I have written, which keeps on calling the function again and again. Okay, so let us see how this particular program works. So inside the main I have a calling function. Suppose the value that I am going to pass through this calling function is 3. So the variable number is carrying the value 3. So sum of 3. So the calling function calls the called function. So here we are calling the function and passing the value as 3. So sum of 3. So first I check if 3 is not equal to 0. Obviously 3 is not equal to 0. So I calculate return n plus. What is the value of n? 3 plus sum of n minus 1. So what is the value of n? 3. 3 minus 1 is 2. So what is sum of 2? I don't know. So I need to calculate sum of 2. So once again I recursively call this function again. So I pass the value of n now as 2. So once again inside the function I check if 2 is not equal to 0. The condition is satisfied. I say n plus, that is 2 plus sum of 2 minus 1. So 2 plus sum of 1. What is sum of 1? I don't know. So once again I call this particular function recursively. So here the value of n is now 1. So as the condition statement once again is true, as 1 is not equal to 0, I say 1 plus sum of 1 minus 1. So what is 1 minus 1? 0. What is sum of 0? I still don't have the value coming out, so I pass 0 to the calling function. I repeatedly once again call the function, so recursively. So sum of 0. So now I'm going to text the condition. The value of n here is 0. So 0 not equal to 0. So here what happens? As 0 is not equal to 0, the condition is false because 0 is equal to 0. We don't execute this statement, which is written immediately after if. We come to the else part and we return the value of n. What is the value of n? Value of n is 0. I come back. So sum of 0 is how much? Sum of 0 is 0. So I return a 0. So 1 plus 0. So what is the value of n? Value of n was 1. 1 plus 0. So sum of n minus 1 is replaced by 0. So 1 plus 0 is 1. So I return a value 1 to my previous calling function. So what is this? It was 2. So 2 plus sum of n minus 1 is replaced by 1. 2 plus 1 is 3. So I say 2 plus 1 is 3. I return the value 3 to my previous calling function, which is sum of 3. So here 3 plus 3. So 3 plus 3 is how much? 6. Once again I return the value 6 to my calling function inside the main, and finally I print the sum of the given positive integer. So the sum of given positive integer 3 is 6. So 3 plus 2 plus 1 plus 0. So this is how we write a recursive program to find sum of a given number using a recursion. So let us see the advantages and disadvantages of recursion. So after knowing what exactly is recursion is and how to write a recursive function, we need to see what are the advantages of recursion and disadvantages of recursion. So recursion makes program elegant. So however, if performance is vital, use of loop is advised instead of using recursion, which is usually much slower. Second thing is that being said recursion is an important concept. It is frequently used in data structures and algorithms. For example, it is common to use recursion in problems such as tree traversal. Okay, so this concept you will understand when you learn data structures in C. So these were some of the advantages and disadvantages of recursion. So hope in this presentation you have really understood what is recursion and how to write a recursive program, and the care that we need to take whenever we are implementing a recursive logic in implementing a program. Okay, thank you very much for watching this video on recursion.